Welcome to the Furlo Capital Real Estate Podcast, where we dive into the intricacies of passive real estate investing. And our mission is to equip people to invest wisely in both property and people so that together we can build wealth while improve housing. My name is James, and this is my wife, Jessi.
Hi.
Hey.
Still here.
What's up?
Yeah, I am not a negotiator.
You're not a negotiator?
Yeah.
What?
I'm glad that you are a negotiator. Well, every once in a while we have like door-to-door salespeople show up at our house.
I love it when they show up.
I know. You love it because you're like, yeah, give me your pitch. Let's practice.
Talk. Yeah.
Like you have no qualms about saying no.
Or spending 20 minutes with them.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, this feels so bad. Like I know they're just trying to make a living. And
yeah.
Like, so this book salesperson came to our door last year. And I totally invited her in, and you were like,
"Oh, that's
okay.
Right." Didn't she have dinner with us?
She totally ate dinner with us. I ended up buying this set of books for our kids, which the books are super cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't really want to buy the books. Like, but now I feel bad, and so this girl came this year.
Yeah,
different girl.
Different girl, but
same books, same company.
Oh, dude, you're a hot mark.
Man, I was like,
number.
well, we got like kid stuff out in the yard. So she's like, I saw the kid stuff out in your yard.
Shocker.
Like, you got
and
kids?
We saw how much you spent last year.
Right? I'm just like, ugh. And so I was trying all the excuses. I had them ready. I was just
Really?
like, yeah. Because
like, what was one of your excuses?
so
come on, give me your negotiations.
I know it's probably so bad.
Would you like to buy a book?
And I was like,
what'd you say?
Well, I don't think we're interested right now. She was like, well,
that seems pretty straightforward,
right? And she was like, well, tell me a little bit about your kids. And I was like, why?
Oh, classic move. You just ignore their initial objection.
Don't want the books.
So I do that when people tell me I'm not really interested in any sort of creative deal. You just totally ignore it and keep going.
It's so annoying.
No, that is like, that's negotiation persuasion tactic 101.
I didn't quite know what to do without being rude.
There you go.
So I was like, okay, they're 7 and 9,
you
know.
Amazing.
And she was like, what do they like to study? You know,
learning
like,
so
oh
much.
My gosh. Like, oh, my daughter likes history, and my son really just wants to play soccer. I don't know. She was just like, oh, that's
we
great.
Have history and sports books.
Yeah, she was like,
oh,
we've got all these tie-ins and this and that, and she was like, well, and I like the whole time I was like, yeah, I know, yep. I hear you. Your books are great. We love the set that we got. We don't need any more.
Okay.
And she's just like, okay, well, would you at least be willing to like write your name down as like we like these books?
Oh, that's amazing. So this is another
total tactic. My gosh.
What you do is you get people to commit to a small thing.
Right.
And then later they do it. So they did a study on this actually where, oh gosh, how did it work? They were trying to raise money for this was in the book Persuasion, Influence by Robert Cialdini.
Drive me nuts.
And oh man, I can't remember. I read this book. I seriously read this book like 30 years ago, so it's been a while. But
30 years when you were like
10.
We're old.
No, let me think about this. Maybe it was.
You were like 5. Apparently, I still think we're 35.
I mean, I was. How old was I? Okay, 20 years ago. Because I had 22, 23 years ago, because I had just graduated high school.
Okay.
So.
Man, we're old.
Yeah. All right. So not 30. Whew. Okay. Anyways, that's not the point.
When you were a baby.
When I was in middle school.
Okay.
I was reading about
Anyways, they.
Oh man.
Anyways,
so they did this study where they were trying to raise money. I think I'm going to get this right. They were trying to raise money for child safety programs or something to that effect. I can't remember exactly. But so they do split studies, right? So in one, they just went around neighborhoods and they just asked, would you like to donate for this whatever, for this charity thing? And they got a very whatever, 20% response, right? Nothing big. And so then what they did is they did another study where first they had someone go around saying, hey, would you be willing to put this sign in your yard that says, I think child safety is important? And that was all they did. And a bunch of people were like, sure, I'll do it. And then it was like a week later, they went back and said, they gave the exact same pitch as the first group of like, hey, we're raising money for this. And it was something ridiculous. Like 60, 80% of the people said, yeah, sure.
What?
I'm in. Well, so what they talk about is first you get people to commit to a very small thing. And then they want to be internally consistent. And so then they'll give to something else. Right. And so what they talk about in Persuasion is start with getting them to agree with something small, and then you can logic it through. in the book, he gives a very crazy, sad example of POWs in, I think it was North Korea, right? We fought them at one point, right? Mm-hmm. I know my war history. I'm not a guy. Apparently, guys study wars, and I am not that way. But anyways.
That's right.
But what they would do with the POWs is they would first get them to say, is America perfect? And they go, well, no, America's not perfect.
Telling me this.
And then they go, well, tell me more. And they would walk them all the way to the point where they would be denouncing, free of will, the United States on camera. Ooh. And it was just this natural progression where they would just trade on you wanting to be internally consistent. So it's...
That's why I don't like this stuff.
So it's a tactic.
Negotiation and tactics. Like
I don't necessarily do that when I'm talking to people. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm not. Yeah. I mean, I might
usually you have
subconsciously,
the other
I'm
person's
not
best
doing
interest in mind. It's like you're not just trying to make a sale.
You will appeal to higher callings. Like, I'm trying to think. I don't know if I use that one, but no, that's a pretty classic.
Oh yeah.
Tactic.
So I was like, sure,
do you believe your health is important?
I love the set of books that I bought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll write that down.
Yeah.
To which then she looked at my information and was like, oh, you work with kids. Because it asked your job.
Oh, man.
Didn't ask for any contact information because I was like, what does this ask? And I was like, sure, whatever, I'll put that down.
Oh, they're smart. They've done their research.
Oh, they totally have. And so she was like, oh, do you know, like we have these other books.
I'm super excited to find out the conclusion on how much you bought.
I bought nothing.
What?
I bought nothing.
Dude, look at you.
Because I was like, I really don't want your book.
Wow.
Like, I'm sorry.
Did it help that we
really
pulled
bad.
up at one point in time?
It absolutely helped. Because I told, that was one of my other things, was like, I'd love to sit down and talk with you. My daughter's on her way home. We got to go to piano lessons. Like, I'm busy.
Yeah.
I can't do this right now. And she was like, oh, I can come back later. And I was like, no, I'm not interested. Okay. And then you pulled up and I was like, see, my daughter, she kept trying to talk to me.
Did I catch you at the end where she was asking for referrals?
Yeah.
Which is another...
Just is like, she was like, okay, well, let me just pull up my mapper. You're saving me a lot of time. If you just tell me, like, in your neighborhood, who's got kids and this and that. And I was just like, nah.
Which now she went to every single one of them and said, hey, I was talking with Jessi earlier.
Yep.
And she said that you would find these books valuable. And so she used you as social proof, which is another, oh my gosh, wow, man. They like...
Right.
That's... So...
Which, is it bad that I just picked a couple random houses? I was like, I think they have kids. I don't know. I think a couple of those
Seriously?
over there.
You just random houses? Man, look at you.
Well, it's rude. Like,
You're just like, you're not gonna...
I don't like her talking with me and like trying to pressure me into buying these things. Like, come on, stop pulling my heartstrings.
Okay, so
I still love my kids. I'm not gonna buy your books.
So this is awesome. We're gonna I'm air launching the topic I wanted to talk about. This is so fascinating.
We're going negotiation all the way.
Yeah, this is super interesting. So this is so cool. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this. So okay, so obviously I get to do some of that with real estate. So I'm just curious, what did you do anything that you liked where you went, oh, that was cool? I felt like you weren't being sold to, but actually like listened to? Cared about?
Maybe her intro.
Okay, what was that?
Like, she introduced herself.
Okay, that's standard.
And,
this is your way of saying, I didn't like any of it. Is that what's happening here? Okay.
If I can recognize that she's like trying to push me into a sale, I don't like it.
Oh, really? Okay.
And perhaps if she had done it, like the girl last year at the very least, didn't seem like she was trying to sell me. At points she did. But for the majority of it, like, she was just like, hey, like, I'm from such and such a company, like, and she noticed we had kids because both the kids ran to the door with me, so I guess it was slightly different, and she was just like, hey, what's your name? And I just got to know us. Okay. And she was like, and Eleanor, was like, you don't, like, you speak English, but you sound different. Where are you from? And they start talking about language, and the girl was like, yeah, I speak Russian. Like, here's how to write your name. Like, how do you write your name? So they had a bond. So
she built rapport.
She did. She built a lot more rapport than this particular girl.
Okay.
This girl was like, you could tell she was tired. You could tell she just wanted to sail.
We rolled up at 4:00 in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. It was hot out.
It was hot. And she even said, she was on a bike, and she even said, like, I've stopped at several different houses, and it's like there's older people who are empty nesters and nobody wants to buy anything, which I don't know, maybe that was a tactic too, but maybe she was discouraged. I don't know.
That's typically not.
I don't know if she's like,
outside of just stating the obvious.
nobody else is buying anything. Like, how about you?
Yeah,
Guilting me? I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, so tactic was come in, build rapport, which is classic. That's the thing you want to do. You want to find points of interest that are the same as you.
Yeah.
And so you got to play that, which honestly is good to do like just in life, where you find, okay, here's things that we share in common, and you got to play the conversation volleyball game. You got something. I can't just barrage you with questions.
Yeah.
I got to share a little bit about myself.
Right.
And then let you give you a chance. Got it. Like,
Yeah.
you got to
And
volley it
comparing the two, the first girl, let's call her K, and let's call this other girl J. I don't know why.
Can we do letters that don't sound the same?
Oh, K and
Y?
Y.
Okay. How about K and A?
I just want to give them a name, so I'm not like the first girl and the second girl. Okay,
Whatever.
so K, like, she spent a lot more time listening.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
okay.
like relative to the whole
When
conversation.
you say a lot, like, what are we talking? Like, obviously,
like,
she was over for
even-
dinner, so she was
Right,
there for
she
a
stayed
while.
for dinner. Yeah. Even in the first 5 minutes of our conversation,
Okay.
she was very good at asking pointed questions.
Okay.
And then waiting. You know, so she would say something like,
Like, what's a pointed question?
she was like a lot more specific. So it wasn't just like, oh, I see you have kids. It was more like, tell me a little bit about your kids. Because she knew we had them.
Yeah.
You know?
They were open-ended types of questions.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
it was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, they're here and this is what they do. And, you know, and so she would invite me into conversation, and then she wouldn't just jump on the next thing. She wouldn't,
Yeah.
you know, this girl, Y, would like, she would hear something and be like, oh, you know, we have a book for that.
Oh,
And it was just like,
interesting.
oh my gosh.
So we'll do that.
I don't care.
Interesting. So, like, when we're making phone calls, oftentimes we'll start open-ended. It's kind of weird. Like, when you're doing a cold call, you kind of got to get to it.
Right.
But you'll say something like, hey, your name or property popped up on my list. Just kind of wondering what's going on. And which is kind of, you leave it as an open-ended, let them, because they know. And he's like, well, I'm in foreclosure, or this is going on. That's interesting. When we're touring a property and the owner's there, you'll ask questions. Oh, what do you like about the house? Or like, you know, I don't know. You'll try to just ask questions, be interested in that person. And yeah, I always feel like I wait just a little long before we get down to business. But and there's definitely a transition of like, okay, we've just been talking. I've been kind of like
Taking it all in.
Yeah, just kind of learning who you are, sharing a little bit about me, and then it gets to a point. And usually, like, again, we're doing a tour, so there's some walking around that happens, just kind of idle chit-chat. We'll ask questions about the house. What's this going? What happened here? Whatever. And then there's a turning point where it's like, okay, now I've learned about you. Now I get to the pitch and the offer, which it sounds like the
first girl did that
Kay
really well.
did that.
Yeah, Kay did that well.
But why just jumped in too soon?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you just weren't in the mood to buy.
Yeah.
Which
with the first girl, I wasn't necessarily either.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, initially, on some level, I did kind of get like, in my mind, I was thinking like, yeah, okay, I can invite her in and still not buy something. But the longer it went on, the longer it was like that thing where you're like, oh, I'm walking closer and closer to this like realization here that like, okay, these books actually are good and maybe I do want to buy them. And, you know.
It's like this is totally not related, but I was sharing with you last night I didn't sleep well. And that was because, so our dog sleeps in our bed. Yep, get over it. And he's awesome. He's a dachshund, so we got plenty of space, usually. But he picked a spot, and it was one of those where at the time, he took most of my blankets, but I still had a little bit sliver, but it was hot out. And so I was like, that's fine. I don't need a lot of blankets. And then eventually it got cold. But I have this internal in my thing where I'm like, I've got like a 5-minute time period where I don't mind booting him out and be like, dude, get off my stuff. But if I lay down and I stay there comes a point in time where I have tacitly said, it's okay for you to be there. And I don't, for my stinking dog, feel right to just kick him out at like 3 a.m. when I'm cold.
So
and he's just
hilarious.
like, I'm loving life.
Right?
And
Yeah, it
so
would have
there's
felt
that
bad to,
yeah,
to
it's
be
almost like when you forget someone's name, there's a point where you're like, I've not waited too long, I can't ask.
You can't ask, yeah. Just,
Okay,
know.
that's
Looks
interesting.
bad on
Okay,
you.
so for me, the trick is how do I get them to invest a ridiculous amount of time with me so they feel like they have to accept my offer?
I mean,
No,
that's
not
well,
necessarily.
it is related to some of the things that you do because it's like they're not necessarily spending time with you in person. I mean, in those scenarios, it is because
okay.
I don't have multiple interactions with them, but it's like, well, I'm thinking of like an investor. An
that's
investor
different.
builds a lot more time with you and looks into what you do and maybe listens to these and gets to know you a little bit
Definitely
more before they
listens
give
to
you
these.
money.
Yeah.
But I suppose you could use similar information with a seller
Yeah.
to be
maybe.
like,
I've thought about that.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that we've thought about doing, and this gets kind of to the social proof aspect of it, is for some of those successful deals, like write a little highlight and not just saying, hey, here's how much money we made on this property, but actually focusing on here's how we helped this homeowner to kind of build some of that social proof so that they can get to know us outside of, hey, I'm just talking. And have some sort of takeaway that they can take home and quote study and read, maybe share with people, just some sort of handout. That's something that we would include with our offer.
That kind of makes sense.
So it's not just here's the business piece.
Yeah, because like you do have to build a little bit of trust.
Yeah.
You know, if they feel like you're just coming in and trying to make money off them, like that doesn't feel good.
Yeah, no, totally. You have to genuinely feel like they need to know that my goal is to help them.
Right.
Yeah, which is like when we're dealing with someone through foreclosure, I actually have a conversation where we talk through 8 different options that they have. And I tell them some of these have nothing to do with me. I don't make any money, but my goal is to stop the foreclosure, not to buy your house. If it makes sense for me to buy it, awesome, cool, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't make sense, awesome, cool, I'm here to help.
Let's get you to a better spot.
Try to communicate. And maybe that's like, for these, you can see the same thing of like, I think books are important. I think everybody should read. I think you should buy books. If you can buy them from us because we've got books you want, awesome, cool. But if you've already got a source of places for books, awesome, cool. I'd still like to show you what we have because I think they're pretty sweet. And we may have something that the library just doesn't always have in stock or something. I don't know. And I think an approach like that could be, it's that mindset of I'm here to help. I'm not just trying to make a sale. I'm really trying to figure out what are your needs and do we have something that can take you to that next step or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the last piece that I'm just like, oh my gosh, you have to do this well.
Okay.
Is like if they are giving you the vibes that they are like, no, I am not interested. I do not want to do this with you.
Yeah.
Like you have to read that well and respect it.
Yeah.
Like that was so annoying today when I was like, my family is literally walking up to the house. I can't even greet them well because you're right here and you keep pushing. And you're like, oh, just give me a minute, just one more minute.
Yeah, that's right. I did have trouble getting. I was
right?
Like, excuse me.
And I was like, oh my gosh, like, can you not read the room? Like, we're done. We are done with this conversation.
Right,
you know?
Yeah, we've done some where we've done cold calls on people, and you call them up, and they're like, no, I'm working with this other organization. We're getting it taken care of. And I remember we were training a new guy and watching him do it, and he's awesome. It's going to be great. But that happened to him when he made the phone call. And there's a little bit of like, cool, totally got that. Would love to give you our contact information just in case. Here's you can get a hold of us. Here's where you can call. Here's what, like, started giving the pitch. And I definitely was like, the right response here was like, awesome. I am so happy that this is going well for you. If for whatever reason doesn't work out, you got my number. But man, this is great. Happy for you.
Yeah.
And just walk away.
Yeah, it's like the same result, but it's delivered differently.
Yeah, and I could potentially see, like a month from now, following up just, hey, just wanted to double check that all worked out.
Yeah.
And if they go, yeah, it did, you go, sweet.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Glad to hear it.
Congrats. That's great. Like, I could see something like that.
Yeah.
But, and like, I get it. Like, we had a script that we had given him, and he was working through it. And so that's on us. Like, we didn't train well. And so that's something we're like, okay, we can do better about helping you see those different decision points. But no, that's a good point. You got to, like, read, which, I mean, like, that's just being a good human.
Right.
Figuring out where they're at emotionally.
Yeah.
And reacting appropriately to that.
And being willing to walk away.
Yeah.
You know, to say the sale is not the end goal. Like.
Yeah, which I agree.
I
Sale
would
is
rather
really nice, but,
the sale is nice if this is a mutual agreement that is going to work out.
Yeah.
But if I'm pressuring you and this is not comfortable.
Yeah, we've got
good.
another deal that we're working through. We talk about aspects of it in a previous podcast. And there's just some weirdness going on with it in terms of there's some people that he owes money to.
Yeah.
And And one of the things that I've talked about is I said, look, once we actually figure out what the amount is that he owes and all of that, like we need to loop back to him and go, are you still cool with this?
Yeah.
Because technically he's in a contract. There's nothing he can do. Like he has to do it. But I'm also like, I don't want to be in that position of like, hey man, you signed the document and we gave you $100 earnest money down. Like you're committed.
Yeah. It's like,
and it's like, no, I want him to feel good about it. Because for all the reasons around it, right? I want him to, if he's ever talking to someone or whatever, like, yeah, no, they treated me well, treated me fairly.
Yeah.
And I want that. And yeah, just for all sorts of reasons, it's the right thing to do.
I'm super interested. Like, I know you like negotiations.
Yeah.
And my first question is why? Because it's so uncomfortable. But my second question is like, do you like the hard sale type of tactic, or like the sales, the thing you're gonna go and go and go till you get it? And those might be related, but
yeah, it depends on the situation. I'm a competitive person. Let's start with that.
Yes.
And if I sense that other person is trying to negotiate, like I go, cool, game on. Like,
oh my gosh.
I'm willing to play. That's why like games like Monopoly, where like negotiating is built into it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, like let's like, okay, cool. And for me, it's just a game. Like I don't care necessarily. It's funny. I will sometimes pass a car and get one car ahead of them. And I've had you be like, what the heck, we're not getting any faster. I'm like, I know, but now I'm a car ahead of them. Like, it's just fun. Not necessarily safe driving tactics, but it's fun. And I think negotiation's that same thing. Like, if I notice someone's coming in and saying like, oh, well, we actually want this, which is like when we are talking to a lot of other investors, they often get into negotiation mode. It's like, okay, yeah, dude, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy that part and the science and the psychology behind like, okay, if I ask for 85% and then I can move up to 92% and I enjoy trying to think through what would get them to budge, or we're thinking through what's something else I can throw in the mix that they weren't even thinking about. Yeah, I get that we're talking about price and I'm willing to bet on the price if you give me this other thing in terms of like closing dates or just do a fix or whatever. Yeah. Right. I enjoy.
You are willing to be quite flexible on different areas.
Yes, quite flexible, creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I would do that a lot. If I've got someone who, and the other thing too is like, I've got spreadsheets. I'm doing all my underwriting. I know what my max number is and I just don't go above it.
Yeah.
And my max number is usually lower than what they want anyways. And so that also just gives me the like, well, I'm not going to buy it for what they want. So at this point, I've already got their no. All I can do is win a yes. So I might as well go for it.
It's a good attitude.
And so, yeah. So like there's this other house that we're looking at, and this will be a future podcast because it's not this one now. But yeah, they were asking a lot more than what we could afford to pay. And I was like, all right, I don't care. I'll make the lower offer. I think that's part of it too. If they're not a big negotiator, I mean, in all cases, I'm starting with like, well, what do they actually want out of this? So it's not just brass tacks. What are the funds? Unless, again, there's some investors where that's what it's all about. They want to increase their investment amount or their return. And so, yeah, okay, I guess we'll have to just get down to it. But oftentimes there's other motivations that are there. Yeah. And I enjoy the process of uncovering those and then crafting something that gets me the low price while still getting what it is that they want.
Interesting.
I enjoy. So in my case, it's like it's a creative thing, but there's definitely some competitiveness there. And I tend to push the bounds on what I think they'll accept. Like our very first place, right? Like we looked at it and I said, oh, they're $30,000 overpriced. And then eventually they dropped their price by $30,000. And that's where I walked in and went, well, we offered them $30,000 even less. And that was because I was like, well, in their head, they've already decided that $30,000 is an acceptable amount. Like that is a number that they're okay with. So let's throw that back at them and see just how okay with it they are. And that was where they came back and went, dude, you got to come up 15 grand. I went, sweet. Perfect. I was happy with that. And for me, I'm like, that was a win. I would have been totally okay with their other number. Like that was fine. I was just like, Let's see what happens. Like, that's cool. Because worst case scenario, they say no, and I go, okay, fine, I'll give you the price that you want.
Yeah.
And now I would just made the offer at the 30,000, wouldn't wait 6 months, but whatever. Yeah, so I don't know. Does that kind of answer the question on how I think about it?
I think so.
But it's
Which
I'm
makes
competitive
me
and creative, and
I think if that is what is like exuding from your conversations, like I genuinely want to help you, and I'm like interested in getting you what you want, you know,
yeah,
fully realizing like there might be some trade-offs because I might not be able to afford that, you know, it's a different conversation, I think, than just you getting what you want. And that's the difference between K and Y.
Yeah,
you know, it was like K very much was like, what's going to be helpful to you?
I also, one of the quotes that I love is the deal of a lifetime comes once a week. And I don't necessarily take that literally, but the idea of, man, there's always something out there. It's okay to say no to all of them. I mean, that was why when we first got started, we were buying a house every other year because it would take me 24 months to find that next one.
Yeah.
And I was okay with that because I had very strict criteria. And we're going faster now, but that's just the nature of the investment's a little bit different and capital's different and the way I'm underwriting is different, you know, all that stuff. Yeah. But like, I'm still like for this one house that we're looking at, like I'm not going to give them what they want. They can't have it. Like I cannot afford to do the deal.
It's not going to work. Yeah.
So I may have to pass on it, and that's okay. And there's been a few others that I passed on, but yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I'm competitive, and so that's fun. And I like the idea of somewhere in there is a creative deal that just the shape fits the whole. Yeah. And it's fun trying to figure out what that is. And honestly, 80% of the time, like I don't find the shape, and it's okay. I move on. Yeah. Do another one. That's fun for me. I make sure to tell them why their hole is the wrong shape, but.
That got weird.
No, you know, just I enjoy like being like, here's why this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, here's my line in the sand. Here's why it's working. And man, I've been shocked. There's been a few times where I do that, where like they come back, it's just flat out no. I go, all right, well, here's why this doesn't work. Yeah. And there has been more than one occasion where they go, oh, okay, all right, let's do it, which is cool. Yeah. Well, wow, that works.
Explain your reasoning. And
part of me is that by that time, I don't care anymore. I figured I lost the deal, so I was just tell them. But, yeah. Well, that was super interesting. Yeah. That was not at all where I thought that was going, but just kind of a fun.
It's kind of cool to hear that, like, your job, you like your job, and it fits you really well.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not selling textbooks, but, you know, in some ways, or just books in general. Yeah. No, I'm trying to buy houses. And, and then sell it to investors as well. Here's why
similar
this is a good deal.
Kinds of tactics, but
so I've learned,
different,
though, like, selling to investors is pretty easy because I'm like, hey, want to make some money?
Right.
Like,
as long as you can
so
show them
entire
how they're going to do that.
Is, you can trust me when I say you will make money. Like, that's the pitch, which is where things like this come in. Just building credibility is super important. But yeah, no, that's super interesting. Wow. All right. Cool. I have no idea how the show notes are going to work on this one, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. Oh, that was awesome. So if you enjoyed this podcast, I'm really kind of interested to know if you do. I would appreciate it if wherever it is that you listen, you leave a review just to let us know. And if you want to learn more about investing with us, you can do that at furlo.com. And man, just thanks for listening. Have a great day.
Should have said something like, if you want to buy some books, I know you could talk to.